Joining us now at CBSN, political contributor Rick Davis, and also the former communications director for Paul Ryan in the 2012 election, Kevin Sheridan. Kevin, I want to ask you, I was actually surprised at the top of the block. The biggest line I think that he got applause was saying that he was going to get rid of gun-free school zones. Are you surprised that he didn't have more line-by-line measures as to how he was going to protect the rights of the folks in the audience?
Yeah, he ticked off a few things, the executive orders, and he mentioned the Supreme Court, which is a big issue for Second Amendment supporters. So, yeah, he's not fully, in any way, fully versed on everything that audience probably wants to hear, but he hit enough of them, and he went a little, anti-Hillary, and he went down his list. He did his kind of free association, insult comic routine that we've come to know very well. And for that crowd, I think he did okay. And just getting the endorsement of that organization is going to be a big help because they can mobilize a lot of voters in November. Yeah, the endorsement's such a big deal. And Rick, I want to ask you, I was surprised. The very first thing he said was he spoke about his sons and how his sons have a lot of guns. Even at one point he said, my sons have so many guns, sometimes even I get a little bit concerned. He used them sort of as surrogates in this, Rick, didn't he?
Yeah, look, I mean, he's used his family throughout the campaign. Ivanka has been one of his best spokespeople, and the sons are actively engaged in the campaign. And I think it's just part of the broader definition of who Donald Trump is. He must be our kind of guy if he's brought up his son to be a hunter. And his son-in-law is equally interested in guns as a sport. Well, that's a way to connect with the crowd, connect with the organization. So I think this is a pretty good script for him. It personalizes him. It's not all about him. His kids are impressive. They're, very well spoken. They'll be active on the surrogate routes around the country. So I think that he's really starting to hit his stride as a candidate. Obviously, it's a tightrope whenever he goes out there off script, but he seems to relish in the fact that he doesn't stick to script. In fact, I think one of the common themes today was, I'm sort of reading the speech because they tell me I have to, but I really don't want to. And gee, if I'd have known there was a teleprompter, I'd have cheated and used it because I think it's cheating. Yeah. And I mean, it's just it's free association, as Kevin says. Yeah, and he said he went off the teleprompter to talk about how he wants gun-free school zones. I'm always amazed at Donald Trump, even in this difficult situation. He managed to stay authentic to himself in the sense that he didn't try to pretend that he's been an NRA card-holding member who has lots of guns. He used his sons instead as surrogates, but he also did attract the crowd by saying that with the San Bernardino attack, if there had been people in that room, fellow co-workers who had guns, the situation could have been a little bit different. And that really got a great deal of applause, Kevin, didn't it, from the audience? Donald Trump's primarily, it's best to think of him as an emotional candidate. And so he plays on people's emotions. He can whip up a crowd. He can certainly play to people's greatest fears when they think about that San Bernardino room and how horrible that must have been. These are gun owners in there. They want to hear that kind of thing. They want to hear about fighting back. Wayne LaPierre talks about that all the time. The only thing that's protecting us as a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And so he's doing that same thing. He's whipping up emotion. And I think in that crowd he's doing a pretty good job of it. And I think you're really going to see gun owners really break hard for him in November. Yeah, he is their guy apparently, and there's not really another option the way it's looking right now. He also went and he did a lot of policy here. He stuck to the points that he likes to stick on the campaign trail, talking about SCOTUS, saying the Supreme Court, saying that there'll be 3 to 5 judges the next president of the United States will have to hit. And then he went out to talk about women, saying, I love women. I want to do better with women, and I'm already doing better with women. Rick, is that true? Well, I don't know if you'd say he's already doing better with women vis-a-vis the electorate, but I think he's identified in a very raw way the fact that he's doing much better with white males than with white females, and he doesn't make any bones about it. He kind of wears it as a badge, and he's like, but I'm going to try harder. And sometimes you think just by pointing that out, it's kind of awkward, right? Why would you point out the fact that women don't support your campaign? But he seems to get away with it, right? I think it's that authenticity that you just described is so important to who he is. He is not broken with that. at times when people around the campaign have said, oh, you know, he's different, he's going to firm up, he'll be more traditional, and he rejects that notion. And it's almost like when he goes off script, he's doing it so intentionally that it's actually a part of the script. And so I think that he will do better with women. I can't imagine him doing worse, right? When you look at the surveys, he's sort of at the bottom of the heap on support amongst white women in America. So is it likely that today is going to get any progress on that? No. I mean, he's probably got all the Second Amendment women that you're going to get, and he needs to find ways of communicating with women on issues that they care about. I don't think the Second Amendment is one that's going to come up to the top of their list.
And he also sort of threw out there Bernie Sanders should run as an independent. What do you guys think of that?
Causing trouble. And he would love for nothing more than for Bernie Sanders to be on the same stage with him and pulling all those votes. But look, the Bernie Sanders voters, it's not clear where they're going to go. And you know, there's some indication that many of them will go to Trump as the other outsider in this race, and that they just are going to be so turned off by Hillary. I don't know where that's going to end up. I think maybe they just are disaffected and they don't actually come out and vote. You know, the millennials maybe. But he's making that play. He's stirring up trouble. Bernie Sanders is still a big thorn in Hillary Clinton's side. You know, despite her protest that she's already won the nomination, she hasn't. He's going to stay in for a while, and you know, he's going to go all the way to Philadelphia, it looks like.
So Rick and Kevin, before you go, I want to ask you, if you were issuing a report card on his performance with the NRA and connecting with this audience, what would you say, Rick?
Passing grade, got the endorsement of a major organization within the Republican Party that has lots of money, lots of voters, lots of organization. This was critical, and he got exactly done today what he wanted to.
Kevin?
Yeah, it's a solid B, I guess. He did what he needed to do. He didn't do himself any harm at all. He probably did himself a little bit of good, whipping up the emotion in that room, and I think gun voters are going to be big on his side.
Okay, Rick Davis, Kevin Sheridan, thank you guys so much for joining us.